important thing right now in 2019 is to let go of the past. There's a lot of things being cleaned up, not only in our, I like to call it upstairs and downstairs. Obviously, some of the changes in our financial system, our political system, we're in a full-blown government shutdown right now, if depending on when this airs. But I do think that there are higher levels of consciousness now participating in the collective. Obviously being a part of the unified field, which we all are, it's important to understand that there's many different souls going through different experiences. Thus, when you guys show up here as starseeds from different worlds, different galaxies, different planets, and you've already gone through some of these 3D tests, really all you have to do is wake up and remember who you are. I like to make the reference, you're not learning how to ride a bike. You're simply remembering how to ride a bike. And a lot of the different teachings and prophecies out there have always spoken about a great awakening, have always spoken about this golden age. Many different religions and old stories, I should say, even from the Sumerian times, talk about this great solar flash and this basically hard reset that's been going on. The Inuit people, contacted NASA. There's many posts out there saying that, hey, the sun has moved. I don't know if you guys have also noticed sometimes when the moon rises, one night it'll be, straight ahead. The next night it'll be off by 45 degrees. I mean, literally, The wobble and the earth shift is viewable. All you have to do is look up and pay attention. Some of the different things and activations that have been coming through the sun. I know when I grew up, and many of you guys listening to my voice right now, we grew up with a yellow sun. The sun was yellow when you looked at it. Well, if you go outside right now and take a gander at our beautiful star, you'll notice that it's white. It is no longer yellow. It is no longer dormant. If you guys don't believe me, go ahead and pull up like Lawrence of Arabia or an older movie that has a shot of the sun. It will come through just yellow. Mm-hmm. So with this new frequency, as we go through this ion belt, as we are all rolling through this Milky Way galaxy together, what I can tell you is that the uptake of frequency, because this is truly what this episode is about, is frequency, how to raise your frequency, and what are some of the things to truly understand to make it easier on you. I want to give you guys a visual. I'm from Southern California. I've been a surfer since I was 8 years old. Love the ocean, Pisces. I really am one with the Pacific Ocean.
That's like a dating profile.
Like a dating thing. I like long walks on the beach and
with Pisces,
waxing my surfboard. But what I can tell you is this: the most important thing to understand about being alive right now and understanding the changes that are happening right now is to meet the change with the same frequency that is changing it. So what do I mean by that? In life, when you're living in the matrix, you're basically sitting on the shore. You're staring at the waves. You've heard about surfing, but you never really tried it out. As you start to wake up, you start to move from the beach and you start walking towards the water. The water, imagine, is you waking up. Okay? Now you look down at your arm, you're holding a surfboard. You're wearing a wetsuit, or maybe some board shorts, or a bikini, whatever your choice is there. But you start wading into the water. Okay, we call this waking up. You've now gotten up off the beach of the collective, which is still unconscious and sleeping, and you are making your way towards the surf. As you're walking out towards the water, the more and more immersed you get into the water, the more aware you become of your environment, of your surroundings, of your body, of the ocean, being part of something. Many surfers understand that when you're in the water, you actually feel like, Gaia is giving you a hug. You are a part of something greater than yourself. That's why I love surfing, okay? So here's what's going on right now in the collective consciousness. People are waking up like little sea turtles and they're scuttling towards the beach. They're scuttling towards the beach and they're making it to the water. Well, here's what you don't want to do. Okay. If the frequency of the waves, you're a little turtle now and you're swimming for your life trying to make it out past the surf line, okay? You're like, oh my God.
Just keep swimming.
Conspiracy theories, things are happening. Oh my God. You're just a little turtle trying to make it outside. So here's the deal. Just like in surfing and just like that little turtle, the closer you get to the surf line, the more you feel the resistance or the change coming. You feel the waves now, going by you. Boom, one wave crashes, another wave crashes, another wave crashes. As you keep paddling out though, you got to paddle out past the surf line. Okay, what happens, a lot of people get on their surfboards, they start paddling, and sometimes they get caught on the inside, okay, and they're just constantly being bombarded by waves, one after another, one after another, one after another, until that frequency either knocks you back to the shore and you have to start all over again, or you usually find something or someone or a higher self to blame. You're normally like, no one taught me how to surf, this surfboard is not properly measured for my body weight, whatever that may be, right? But the issue is this: you have to be strong enough in your clarity to make it out past the break line, because once you make it out past the break line, everything is peaceful. You then get to hang out with the other surfers and surfettes out there that have made it through, the shore break, and then out past, the first break, but you're now sitting outside. Once you're sitting outside, you can enjoy the day. It's mellow. You're feeling the frequency and the waves go underneath you. It's no longer crashing upon thee. Okay? Then you can sit there and wait for your perfect wave to paddle into and surf. Surf to your heart's delight. I say that to you because right now there's many choices and distortions in the field that you yourself individually need to choose to make your life easier. Okay? The material world is awesome in small doses. Okay? This is what I mean by that. Do not spend every single waking hour of your day locked in the 3D rat race. Do not spend every waking moment of the day trying to get ahead. Rather, take time for yourself. Health is wealth. Okay? Health is wealth. Are you happy? Are you healthy? Do you have good friends and family? Do you treat them with respect? Do you have love in your heart? When you see a piece of trash on the beach, do you pick it up? When you see someone hungry, do you stop by and get something for them to eat and drop it off and give them a smile? The whole thing is that we're all on the same team here on Earth, and it's just been a lot of programming, past conflicts, and all of this different religious dogmas and political systems and boundaries and countries and barriers. All this stuff has been created to keep everything separate. When the truth is, we are all one in our hearts. We are all one, all the same on the inside. But truly, we're all going through this emotional test together. I like 3D Earth because, when my third eye came on and I could see everyone's higher selves, vertically, I could see the guy standing in 3D and I could see his higher self over his shoulder, then keep, another one about 15 feet up in the air, another one about 15 feet up in the air. I could see the rings, I could see the cables of creation, I could see the cosmic beings actually puppeteering multiple time streams simultaneously. My vision now is accelerated to a place where I can actually change between channels. When my third eye first came on, I could see narrow band vision. So it's almost like mind's eye, but mind you, I'm awake, I could see into 5D perfectly. As I got more activated, I had to go into more of a broadband system because I had to monitor and track multiple targets simultaneously when I was doing activations to protect me, my squad, and to make sure that whatever the activation, closing, or opening a Stargate was necessary. And one of the main protocols when you're actually opening or closing dimensional gates is that you have to make sure if you're opening a gate downstairs to say free some souls that are being captured or have been held captive, you have to make sure nothing else comes out of that hole. You have to be strong enough to stop what's ever on the other side of the door. That's why it's one of those things that I recommend, that you're kind of born into. I would not recommend particularly, I think I have the higher selves that were kind of like, instead of like, okay, Bobby or Johnny, you want to learn how to swim? Let's put some floaties on your arms and go in the shallow side of the pool. My Anunnaki kind of threw me in the deep side of the pool and said, swim, boy, swim. So it was kind of like, it was almost like a baptism by fire for me. It was not, a lot of people, I did get to hang out with the angelics. I had some of the most amazing interactions with my angelics. One of the most amazing parts of me waking up, and why I kind of had a tear to my eye when I watched Guardians of the Galaxy Part 2, when he was playing catch with his father, and he made a chi ball. I actually have that exact memory that happened to me in 3D. I was in college and I could see my higher selves. My college classmates, completely unaware that could see 3D, are inside working on my computer for a film we were working on. I'm in the backyard, hiding from them, playing catch with my higher self. I started to understand a couple of things. One, obviously this is not my first rodeo, and for many of you it's not your first rodeo. I also then had to understand how to balance, calculate, and strategize what I could share and what I needed to hold in myself until I was old enough or experienced enough to speak it in a balanced manner. Sometimes when we wake up and one of our higher selves grabs the microphone, let's just say, you don't know if that's your light or your night aspect grabbing that microphone. It could be one of your night aspects on your right-hand side, right? Rather than maybe one of your light aspects on your left-hand side. Your heart is always on your left, okay? Going through these different things in the frequency modulations, I had to understand, I had to be able to process what was going on in 3D, 4D, 5D, and 6D mainly, with an 8D version of myself overseeing the adjustments, while, mind you, the rest of my higher selves are also in full attire and working collectively to make changes. Most of them being old battlefields was my, truly, was one of my specialties and still is to this day. I'm very good with clearing old battlefields. Why? You guys, since time is all happening simultaneously, time is not viewed in the same way linearly as we perceive it here in 3D. So if there's an old battlefield from the Civil War in Pennsylvania, and for some reason no one can live there, it's still a farm field, and the people that live there can't sell the house, it's a very weird, spooky place. The issue is that in 4D or in another dimension or parallel reality, that battle is still happening right now in the present moment. And I know that's kind of hard to fathom based upon our lifespan, right? And how we calculate our reality. But anytime you have an inflection of conflict or resistance in the field, that field, right, will remain unbalanced until it is adjusted properly, transmuted, integrated, and then restored back into a balanced manner. Thus, some of us have those jobs. I'm kind of like an earth acupuncturist. So again, they don't give that job to beings that can't hold that warrior spirit, because you are going to get, you're going to bump heads with some things that like to do things the way they've done it for the last 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 years and plus. I experienced this personally when I was in Easter Island and I was in the lava tubes in the island in 3D. Me and my brother Jason landed there, and it was 4 days of activations and clearing out the lava tubes. And I have my own armor that I wear that I made for myself, the sun disk on the front and back, and makes it so no lower dimensional being can actually hijack my suit. So basically I'm like an armored tank with an 8-foot staff walking through lava tubes half underwater. I was walking waist deep in water with my eyes closed, clearing out all that negativity and stuff that took place on that island about 1,000, 2,000 years ago. So again, another reflection. For some of you guys who have your third eyes come on very strongly, you'll begin to see better at night. I have very good vision at night. Another thing too is I see better at night. As far as my eyes and seeing through the veil. During the day was always meant for 3D activities, day activities. It's when the sun went down that in the old tribes, for I am Native American, we would light the fires. And I'm also Druid out there, all my homies out there in Scotland. We used to sit around the fire as natives out there, and I have my favorite druids out there, right? All my Toltecs out there. We used to sit around the fire, and that's when it was spirit time. That's when you hung out with your family. That's when you connected to the spirit world. That's when it was a good thing to see. The daily toil is for 3D. When that light's on, it's game time. Let's get some stuff going down here in 3D. But when it was nighttime and the fire was lit, that's truly when you got to be with your spiritual family. I cannot reference nor tell you how important it is I could never trade anything. You could not offer me anything that this planet has to offer for me not to wake up. Hanging out with your higher selves, being able to speak to your higher selves is one of the coolest things that could ever happen to you in any incarnation. There is no amount of money, material wealth, or anything this world can offer you that could ever, be more than actually knowing who you are, where you come from, when you got here, hanging out with your higher self in meditation, having them teach you stuff off-planet technologies, miracle cures, anything you want at your disposal. This world of distortion has been created to keep you out of that place, because if you actually knew how many times you've been here and you knew how old and wise your soul truly was, would this game even be a challenge for you? Ask yourself that. And did the older version or newer version of yourself already ascend? And this is your lower self now talking to you as I listen, as I'm talking to you now. Energetically, that version of me could have already gone to 5D. This is the version that was underneath him speaking. Would you know? Would your friends and family know that you've actually already ascended and you're actually in your lower form right now? There's many things that are happening behind the scenes. I tried to expand your mind to remember things that are most dear to your heart. Treating others with love, you get love back. The more love you put into the world, the more love you put into the universe, the more love you get back, the more light you get back. It's that simple. People try to make this large equation. Those masters can explain quantum physics with a banana, an apple, and a pear. They do not need to preach it in a book that's 1,500 pages long to a bunch of PhDs. You're not a master if you cannot explain these basic or very quantified things with very simple things. If you think you are a master and you can't explain something to a child, you need to keep working on it. This thing about being humble too. I've had to hit my knees many times. Every time I do an activation and I come home, for 6.5 years, I was gone every 60 days. I went to Bolivia. I went to the Sarajevo the Sarajevo tunnels under the airport, and I cleared out all the souls that were there during the 90s war. I've been to Bosnia. I've been to the Sun Pyramid, Egypt, the Valley of the Kings. All these different places I've been. I mean, there's like 40, 50 places I've been. Every time I go there, I try to make it better than when I got there. And I think for everyone on their activation, that's all you have to do. If that's giving somebody a hug, giving somebody a ride, picking someone up who's down, making someone smile, you're doing your job. It doesn't matter, how you feel specifically, but rather that you're always doing your best to improve the life of everyone and everything around you in the present moment and for future generations to come, as we fix the past and not make the same mistakes that have plagued this planet for quite some time. Rather to understand we were all in this game for experience, and that experience has been ascertained, learned, processed, and it's now ready for the entire population of Earth to experience a higher level game, a new game, where thoughts manifest, abundance is all around us, and we start to appreciate the magical kingdom that this planet truly is. That's what I'd like to say.